Hello and welcome to the second episode of Royal Nature. Thank you for all the fantastic feedback from the last episode. We've had photos, videos and all sorts of wonderful comments. So keep the emails coming in, keep interacting on Twitter and Facebook and watching the videos. Thank you ever so much for your support. I'd like to show you these photos from Erin in Year 3, who has been using recycling to create a feeder for the birds in her garden. What a fantastic job. Well done, Erin. And the next photo I'm going to show you is from Emma in Year 7. She's been looking at bees in her garden. Bees is going to be a topic on a video very shortly. And she sent this photo of one that she rescued from her house. It's a communal mining bee. So thank you for that, Emma. Let's have a look. This footage sent in from Jean in Year 7 is showing her giving us a tour around her fabulous garden. Thank you for that, Jean.
We have the flowers and you can hear that bird in the background. We have my flowers here and that was just a pigeon. We've got more flowers. We have more flowers here. We have these beautiful flowers that I really like. We have a bird over there. We have bird boxes as well. Bird feeders, whatever you call them. We have a bird box, and over here we have more flowers, tulips. We have tulips and some other flowers here. We've got some flowers over there and more over here. We have some greenery here. We have some bird feeders.
These photos have been sent in by Mr. Benson. As part of his daily exercise, he's been cycling in his local area, and you can see greater stitchwort, forget-me-not and beautiful bluebells. Now in today's episode, we're going to focus on a very, very common species of garden bird, the starling. Now, there may be more to them than meets the eye with this fantastic bird, and hopefully, after watching this, you'll agree they're pretty amazing. Also in today's episode, I've enlisted the help of Alexander in Year 3, my son, to help put down pitfall traps in our garden so we can see what little creatures are living here, and we'll tell you more about that later on. Right, let's have a look now at some super starlings. Turnus vulgaris is the Latin for starling, vulgaris meaning common, but the name is a bit of a misnomer as population numbers have plummeted by 80% in the UK. It's a red list species, which means it's of global concern. We think it's probably due to changes in how we use our land, farming practices, chemicals we use in farming, and loss of feeding and nesting sites. Starlings come with two different outfits. In the early spring and summer, we see them in their beautiful breeding plumage, where their feathers appear to be green, purple and blue, and they're iridescent. This was a friendly starling that I took a photograph of on my holiday in Northumberland about 2 years ago. It's in its non-breeding plumage. The non-breeding plumage is very different. You can see the bird looks far more drab, the feathers are dark brown, and the white dots are far more prominent. The bill is much darker than we're used to, and not the usual yellow that we see in the breeding season. When the birds are in their breeding plumage, you can actually tell the males from the females apart. If you have a look at the bill, you can see there's a slight pinkish tinge to the base of it. This is a female. The males have a slight bluish tinge to the base of their bill. On the left, you can see the bird has a slightly pinkish bill. This is a female. And on the right, there's a slight bluish tinge to the base of the bill. This is a male. Starlings are famous for their mimicry. When they call, they do impressions of other birds, mammals, car alarms, and have even been heard doing human voices. flight, starlings look quite pointy and almost star-like in shape. That's where they get their name starling from. One of the most impressive wildlife spectacles that you could hope to see is a starling murmuration. A murmuration is flocking behaviour by thousands of birds. Sometimes 100,000 starlings can congregate together and put on a stunning aerial display. I was lucky enough to see a murmuration in Warwickshire in March this year. The best time to see a murmuration is about half an hour before dusk, just as the sun's going down. There are several theories as to why starlings show this murmurating behaviour. We think the main one is safety in numbers. It's very difficult for predators to pick off one individual amongst 100,000. It also helps them to keep warm, and individual birds can share information on the best roosting and feeding sites. Murmurations happen as the birds are settling down to roost for the night. They're making sure it's safe and looking for the best spot. And at this moment, one of their greatest threats is a peregrine falcon. I was doubly lucky on this day because I did see and photograph a peregrine falcon zoom across the sky at about 60 miles an hour. But that's a topic for another video. So there you go. Starlings, they're iridescent, they're mimicking, they murmurate, they're magnificent. We're going to look at an activity now where you can get involved. I'd like to talk to you about pitfall traps. Now these traps are something that as a biologist I've used for many years to survey the invertebrates in an environment, but they're also really fun to do in the garden. You can see what's creeping and crawling through your soil and grass. It's called a pitfall trap because you literally dig a hole or pit and then you put a cup or plastic container inside. The little invertebrates, such as insects, crawl along the floor and fall in. Then you can have a look at what you've caught and identify and count them. So my sons and I decided to put some pitfall traps out. You can do this too. You'll need a trowel, a tile or thick piece of card, a yoghurt pot or similar plastic container, 2 to 4 large stones, and some bait such as cucumber, grapes or banana. So we want to dig a hole so that the pot fits in and it's just flush with the ground. Right, so that's the pitfall trap in the ground. Now you need some bait to encourage them in. You can use something like banana, or I'm going to use a piece of cucumber. So there we go. It'll also mean that they don't starve to death while they're trapped in there. You need to place some stones around, at least 2 stones. I've got 4 here, fairly large ones. And then we're going to place a tile or piece of card on top. Now this will mean that the insects can crawl underneath. And the cover will mean if it rains, they won't drown. So our own pitfall trap, we're going to leave it now. It's evening time now, so we're going to check on it first thing in the morning. And if we haven't caught anything, we'll check on it again in the evening. It's really important not to leave it too long, otherwise the creatures inside will die. So Alexander's decided to use one of the badger snuffle holes in our lawn to place a second pitfall trap to see if we get anything different. And he's going to use some grapes as bait. Do you want to put the grapes in, Alexander?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thanks. Now the last thing is to put the tile on top so that it doesn't fill with water should it rain overnight. Do you want to put that on, Alexander? Good job. And now we leave it and we'll check on it first thing in the morning. There are 3 really important things to consider with pitfall traps. 1. These are living creatures, so treat them with care and respect. Return them to the exact spot you got them from. 2. Check them regularly. If you set it in the morning, check the pot by the evening. And if you set it in the evening, check it first thing in the morning. And finally, don't set a pitfall trap if you know there's going to be heavy rainfall overnight. The creatures might drown. So I hope you enjoyed looking at starlings, and I hope you'll go off and have a go at putting some pitfall traps in your garden or local area. I'll see you soon for another episode of Royal Nature. It's rather windy here, so goodbye from me. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.